Hello everyone, and welcome back to History of the Ancient World. Today, we're journeying back in time to one of the most legendary cities ever known, Troy. Was it just a myth? A backdrop for Homer's epic tale of gods and heroes? Or a real, breathing city with a story all its own? Let's find out. For centuries, Troy was a name whispered in poems and stories, most famously in the Iliad. We all know the tale, the beautiful Helen, the Trojan prince Paris, the decade-long war, and of course the giant wooden horse. For a long time, scholars believed it was just that. A story, a fantastic piece of fiction created by the poet Homer to entertain and inspire. But what if the story held a kernel of truth? This question fascinated a man named Heinrich Schliemann, a German businessman and amateur archaeologist. Driven by his lifelong belief that Homer's epics were based on real events, Schliemann set out in the 1870s to find the lost city. He focused his search on a hill in modern-day Turkey called Hisarlik, a site that matched Homer's descriptions of Troy's location. What Schliemann and later archaeologists unearthed was astounding. It wasn't just one city, but a layer cake of cities, at least 9 of them, built one on top of the other over thousands of years. Each layer designated Troy I, Troy the Set, and so on, told a story of destruction and rebuilding, of changing cultures and shifting powers. This discovery proved that Hisarlik was indeed the site of a major, long-inhabited ancient settlement. The earliest settlement, Troy I, dates back to the early Bronze Age, around 3000 BC. It was a small, fortified citadel, but it marked the beginning of Troy's long and storied history. Why was this spot so important? Location, location, location! Troy was strategically positioned at the mouth of the Dardanelles, the narrow strait connecting the Aegean Sea to the Black Sea. This gave its rulers control over crucial trade routes, allowing them to tax ships passing through. Troy became a commercial hub, a wealthy and powerful city-state. As we move up through the layers, we see Troy growing in size and sophistication. The layer known as Troy the Seque, is particularly famous. This is where Schliemann discovered a magnificent hoard of gold and precious artifacts, which he dramatically named Priam's treasure, believing he had found the treasure of the legendary Trojan king from the Iliad. While we now know this treasure dates from a period much earlier than the Trojan War, it speaks to the incredible wealth and craftsmanship of the city's early inhabitants. Now let's get to the main event, the Trojan War. Did it actually happen? Archaeologists now focus on the layers known as Troy Six and Troy 7a. Troy Six was a magnificent, wealthy city with formidable defensive walls and grand towers. Its architecture was impressive, with wide streets and large houses, suggesting a period of great prosperity around 1750 to 1300 BC. However, evidence suggests that this grand city was destroyed not by war, but by a powerful earthquake. This brings us to Troy 7, built on the ruins of Troy the Six. This city seems to have been hastily rebuilt, with its people cramming into smaller spaces within the old walls, as if they were preparing for a siege. There's archaeological evidence of conflict here. Arrowheads found in the streets, skeletons, and widespread fire and destruction around 1200 BC. This timeline aligns remarkably well with the traditional dates given for the Trojan War. So while we may never find Achilles' shield or the specific wooden horse, the evidence strongly suggests that a real war or a series of conflicts did take place at Troy around the time Homer's epic is set. The story of a 10-year siege might be an exaggeration, a poetic blending of many different raids and conflicts that occurred over time. The abduction of a queen might be a romanticized cause for a war that was likely fought over trade routes, resources, and regional dominance. The fall of Troy 7 marked a turning point. The following period, known as the Dark Ages in Greece, saw a decline in literacy and trade. But the memory of Troy lived on. Even after its destruction, the site remained significant. Greeks and later Romans who claimed descent from the Trojan hero Aeneas, built their own settlements on the hill. Alexander the Great himself visited the site to pay homage to the heroes of the Iliad before beginning his conquest of the Persian Empire. The Romans, under emperors like Augustus and Constantine, revered Troy as their ancestral homeland, further cementing its legendary status. The story of Troy is a perfect blend of history and myth. It shows us how a real place with a real history of trade, power, and conflict can become the seed for one of the greatest stories ever told. The archaeological discoveries at Hisarlik don't diminish the power of the Iliad. They enrich it. They ground the epic heroes and their struggles in a tangible reality, reminding us that behind every legend, there's often a fascinating true story waiting to be uncovered. The excavation of Troy is a testament to the human desire to connect with our past and to find the truth behind the myths that have shaped our world. So, the next time you hear the story of the Trojan horse, remember the real city of Troy. A city that stood for thousands of years, a crossroads of civilizations, a place of immense wealth, and the site of a conflict that inspired a legend for the ages. It's a powerful reminder that history is often even more incredible than fiction. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to ancient Troy. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. What part of Troy's history interests you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the history of the ancient world. See you next time.